Hello and good morning to everyone in the world out there. Good morning, John Salati.
Good morning, Salon. Glad to be back on the Legal Zone.
Good morning, Dr. Cheney.
Good morning.
Glad to see you this morning.
You too.
I'm loving the pearls.
Thank you very much.
And we have a special guest with us today that you all are going to be amazed by her story. But let's get into a few things first. Now, we've talked about false imprisonment when we had Miss Athena Phillips on the show and her situation with Walmart. False imprisonment basically is when someone confines you to a place against your will. Doesn't have to be a prison. You could go to your girlfriend's house. You leave your keys on her dresser. She starts to ask you questions. You say, no, I'm leaving. Hey, where are my keys? I'm not getting them until you talk to me. False imprisonment. I got to go to work. No, you're not leaving until you talk to me, or vice versa. We're gender neutral here. That's false imprisonment. False arrest is very, very similar to false imprisonment. False arrest. Let me open this up. I like to use book Antiqua. Okay, false arrest. What's that? We all know what the word arrest means. An arrest is a stop. So a false arrest is a wrongful stop. False arrest usually leads to a false imprisonment, but it is two distinctions. One might be the amount of time. You're walking down the street, an officer comes up to you with his gun, hand on his gun, and he says, come here a minute. He stops you. You feel that you can't move forward for whatever reason. The other distinguishing factor is an authoritative person. With a false arrest, you usually stop because this person is an officer. This person has some sort of sense of authority, a boss. A false arrest happens when someone in authority stops you for any length of time without probable cause. That's a false arrest. So the difference is a false imprisonment is you're confined in a particular area. You can't move, you can't leave, even though you may want to. A false arrest is when someone in authority stops you for any amount of time without probable cause. So keep that in mind. I also want to talk about IIED, which is intentional infliction of emotional distress. Now, what does that mean? This is something that you will find it a lot in lawsuits, but a lot of the times it's not successful. So we talk about intentional. We all know what intentional means, on purpose, or in legal senses, reckless. Someone's behavior is intentional, they do it on purpose, or they might not have done it on purpose, they was just reckless in their behavior. They wasn't thinking about anything. The second part is extreme behavior, outrageous. The behavior, the intentional act is extreme. Well, that's kind of subjective, right? What's extreme to me may not be extreme to Dr. Cheney. What's extreme to John may not be extreme to me. So they use this standard test. Is this behavior something that an ordinary person would do in this particular situation? That behavior and conduct must cause someone emotional distress. So when someone intentionally acts and that act is extreme and outrageous, it must cause someone emotional distress. It does not necessarily have to be the person who it intended to affect. If a woman has a child and the child is outside and some random man walks up to the child and starts beating the child with a stick, and the mother is saying, "Stop, what are you doing?" And the man looks at her and sees her and continues to beat the child, that can be IIED. Even though the behavior is on the child, it's causing the mother looking out of the window extreme emotional distress. Now, how do you prove emotional distress? Usually by therapy. You can't say I was emotionally disturbed, but never was treated for it. It would be very difficult to prove that you were emotionally distressed unless you have some sort of professional in that field saying, yeah, they're suffering. And of course, then you must suffer. That's intentional infliction of emotional distress. Intentional behavior that's extremely outrageous, that causes someone provable distress. And as a result, their damage, their life is not the same. All righty. Now keep this all in mind as we hear Miss Baugh, Miss Veronica Baugh, talk to us about a situation that she is currently in. Remember, you all, these cases that come on the legal zone, for the most part, they're actual ongoing cases. We don't know how it's going to turn out, but the individual, they're going through an injustice. And with that, I introduce Miss Veronica. Good morning, Miss Veronica.
Good morning. Thank
How are
you
you?
for having me.
Oh, thank you for coming on. So what do we have going on with you?
Oh, wow. Oh, there's so much going on right now. But you speaking on one day in April the 7th, it was on a Wednesday. We have chicken that day. So I went to the cafe to go get some chicken.
Well, tell us where you work.
Oh, I'm sorry. I work up Capitol Hill. I cut Congress and Senate. And I work in the house of Rayburn.
Okay, so you're a barber essentially.
I am a master barber.
Okay.
I work up Capitol Hill cutting Congress hair.
Okay, I want to show the audience some of the people that you've cut when we say that you're a barber. You've cut some people's hair that we might recognize. This gentleman.
That's Congressman John Lewis.
Okay, so you've cut his hair before.
Plenty of time, yes.
Okay, and then we have some more I'd like the audience to see. Can you all see that? I need to share this. This individual.
That's Judge Greg Mathis.
And that's another person you've cut?
Yes, yes. He's in my office right now in the Rayburn, this picture here.
Okay. Who is this young man?
That is Danny Glover, actor Danny Glover.
Okay, so you've cut some distinguished people's hair in the past.
And I'm around a lot of people, a lot of important people every day.
Okay.
And, but like I was saying, that Wednesday on April the 7th, I was walking back in the shop and this officer was sitting there. And as soon as I walked in, he didn't say, hi, how you doing? He just came right at me and was like, what is that on you? And I'm like, what are you talking about? What's on me? You know, he said the tattoo. And I said, oh, that's my aunt. The tattoo is an aunt. He said, do you know the meaning of it? And I said, of course I know the meaning of my tattoo. I wouldn't have it on me if I didn't know the meaning of it. And he said it again, you know the meaning of that tattoo. I'm like, yes. It represents life, love, peace, happiness. That's what it means to me.
Is that it?
That's the tattoo. It has my two dogs' name on it, Bear on top, Briscoe at the bottom, and the Eye of Ra in the middle. And he just kept on and on about it. So I just, after what I said, I just didn't say anything else about it. So the next day, I'm walking towards the Longworth building, going in to do my duties. So as I'm passing the loading dock, I hear someone saying, hey, you come this way, telling me to come in the loading dock. So I'm thinking it's someone I know, because I cut a lot of Capitol Hill police officers. And I'm thinking someone's like, you come on through the long, you know, the shortcut to get in the building. So as I got closer in the loading dock, I saw who it was. And then I'm like, oh, that's the guy from yesterday. This is what I'm saying to myself. So I said, okay. So I had my purse. I'm walking through the metal detector. So as soon as I walked through the metal detector, it didn't go off. My purse or nothing. Nothing didn't go off when I had my purse going through the metal detector. So as soon as I went through there, he took my purse. He took my purse and went around another officer. So the other officer, he came right at me. He was like, who are you? What group you belong to? And I'm like, huh? What? I'm like puzzled, don't know what's going on. Like, why are they asking me all of this? Then he said, what club you belong to? What sorority you belong to? And I'm steady saying, huh? Excuse me? And then he got right at it. Then he said, you know the meaning of this tattoo. I'm like, this is about my tattoo? Why are y'all tripping off my tattoo? You know? And he just kept on and on. The other guy, he's digging in my purse. I'm looking at him now. I'm like, why is he in my purse? You know, he's steady digging in. He'll look up while the other guy's still asking me questions. And he just keeps saying, do you know the meaning of this tattoo? And I'm like, yes, I know the meaning of my tattoo, you know.
This is the same guy from the day before.
The one from the day before is the one that's in my purse.
Okay.
So he got the other guy in on it. And he's just keep asking me, do I know the meaning of my tattoo? And I told him, I said, look, yes, I know the meaning of my tattoo. And I said, matter of fact, I'm not finished with my tattoo. I said, I'm gonna put a African band, is the tattoo. I said, I'm gonna put an African band up under it because I'm a queen and I'm royalty. And this is what I told him. So he's like, okay, it's an Egyptian cross. I said, I know it's an Egyptian cross. He said, well, I'm Christian. What my tattoo has to do with you being Christian? What my tattoo has to do with you? I don't even know you. You know, and he said, it's the eye. And I'm like, what's wrong with the eye? He said, it's the third eye. I said, okay, and, you know, and he just kept on and on. The other guy, he's still in my purse, you know, and I'm like, can I have my purse, you know? And so as he kept on and kept on about talking about my tattoo, and then he just came out and said, well, we ain't seen your kind around here in a long time. And I said, that's it. I need my purse. Can I have my purse? And when he said, we haven't seen your kind around here, I don't know what he meant, but to me, it seemed like he meant because I stood my ground. I didn't hold my head down. I didn't, I wasn't afraid. I just stood my ground with them and told them they, why y'all tripping off my tattoo?
And then what happened after that?
So he finally gave me my purse back.
Now, how big is your purse? Was it like a huge luggage?
Pass me that purse. I have it right here. This purse here. It's my little purse for work.
Okay.
That I carry my tablet because I need my tablet for work. And just a few other stuff that I need. And he just took it and just started searching in it. I don't know if he was trying to plant anything in there. I don't know. But he just kept it and he shouldn't have. But when I came out of there, I saw one of my clients and he saw me and he was like, Miss V. They call me Miss V up there. He said, Miss V, are you okay? He said, I had a tear going down my eyes. And I didn't even know I had tears coming down. And I was like, no, I'm not okay. They just harassed me in the loading dock about my tattoo. He's like, what? They weren't supposed to do that. I'm like, yeah, they just harassed me. So I end up calling another officer on another officer, police on the police. And he was like, you okay? I said, no. I said, I was just harassed in the loading dock. He said, did you get their names? I said, no. He said, well, go back in there and get their names. I said, I'm not going back in there. I don't want to go back in there. I said, what I can do is I can tell you what post they're at. And it just happened, So he said, okay, let me look into this. So as I'm going to the shop, I didn't go home. I should have went home, but I didn't. Because I was so upset, crying and upset and just it was awful. I never in my life went through anything like that before. So when I went in my shop, I was booked up that day. And one of the barbers, he wasn't there. So that's another reason why I didn't leave. And the older guy, Joe, he was there. But I didn't tell him what happened. I just didn't tell him what happened. So my next client that I had coming up was an officer. He's a Capitol Hill police officer. So I told him what happened because he saw I was all upset, He took it and said he was going to get it investigated. And that's how it started. The investigation started.
And this is still on the 9th of April.
Okay, so the next day, the 9th, which was a Friday. So that morning I woke up, I said, well, you know what? I'm gonna let it go. I woke up and I said, I'm feeling good. It's a good day. It was a beautiful day. And I said, I'm not gonna go the loading dock way. I'm gonna go through another door.
To avoid them.
To avoid them.
Okay.
So I went through the other door, and when I opened it, there he was again, the officer from Wednesday, Thursday, and now here he is again. So as I'm walking through, I'm like, oh, now they're stalking me. Now I'm afraid. Now I need to do something, So as I'm walking through another metal detector. He's there. He's like taunting at me, waving, smiling, making sure I see him. So I turned my head so I couldn't look at him. And I just kept going. So that's when I try to contact everybody after that because I was afraid then, I contact the CAO.
What's CAO?
I contact the Office of Employee Assistance. Now they supposed to help people when, you know, stuff like this happen. So when I called them and told them what happened, they gonna tell me, well, you're a contractor, we can't help you, and hung up on me.
Wow.
I'm like, wow. So you mean to tell me I've been working up here 11, 12 years. I can't get no help. I can get harassed. I can get, you know, whatever. Anybody can do anything to me. Y'all can't help me, you know. So that kind of like, what I'm gonna do next? You know, I went to some representative. They didn't help me. I'm not gonna put no names out there, but they didn't help me, you know. So I found you, and
we're moving forward.
And we're moving forward, yes.
And I did speak to the officer who was investigating, and of course he did not want to talk to us. So he wasn't much help, but now that we've initiated suit, we'll get the answers that we need, and we'll get the relief that you need because of this extremely outrageous behavior. Now, Dr. Cheney, I'm going to start with you. This is your time. Questions.
Okay. How are you today, Ms. Baugh?
I'm fine. How are you?
We're all hanging in there. Sorry about your experience. Can you, one of the questions I had and you just answered is, did you notify HR, the human resources? But I guess you have something equivalent to that in the employee organization that you contacted. And there are no policies listed for contractors? I guess.
It's like for the contractors, they don't have anything for us for something like this to happen. Like ever since this happened, I haven't really had a day off. I'm constantly going up in there, having anxiety attacks. It's just unbearable. I can't believe what I'm going through, and no one there is helping me at all. Have no one come to see me. Have no one apologize to me. The two officers are still working there. Now, what if I come across them in the hallway or something?
Right. And do you think there may be more than one reason why the incident with them took place? Do you think it's more than just...
It's a lot of harassments going on there ever since January the 6th.
Okay.
It's just been crazy up on that hill. You know, it's people are coming up to me saying, Veronica, I've been harassed, but people not saying anything.
And yeah, what is this? Tell us more about the third eye and your tattoo, what that means. So, because it seems to me that, just listening to you with the third eye business, that there's something that triggered this guy that is not something that he is used to seeing.
And you know, he looked at me strange, like, it's the eye. I'm like, well, what's wrong with the eye? You know, he's like, it's the third eye. I'm like, okay, you know, the eye rod protects me from evil. If you look it up, Google the owl rod is for protection of evil.
And so he's looking at this as it is. Well, we don't even really know why he is singling out the eye.
Right, that's what he singled out, talking about it's the eye.
But he never tells you what it means to him.
Right, exactly. And he gave me a look like it's the eye, you know, looking at me all mean, you know, okay, you know, it's still my business what's on me. If you see half of them people up Capitol Hill, especially them Capitol Hill police officers, they have tattoos on their neck on down, tattoos all over their arms, tattoos all over their legs, but they single me out. One tattoo, I just got this tattoo on me last year on my birthday. And they single me out on my one tattoo.
Did you have any idea about the tattoo prior to putting it on your arm and the third eye?
I've been into the Ankh all my life.
Okay.
Now, growing up, my mom, she was against tattoos. You know, growing up, she like, don't come in the house with no tattoos. This is back in the 80s. So I said, okay, you know, I'm afraid of needles anyway, you know. So, but I said, if I was to ever get a tattoo, it would be the Ankh. And that's what I did. I'm 53. I waited till I'm 53 to get a tattoo, and I got the Ankh put on me. And
So
still, when I got the tattoo, I was afraid to tell my mom I had a tattoo.
Well, I would suspect that I've been exposed to military personnel, and a lot of them have tattoos all over their bodies and whatnot. A lot of the NFL players and all that, but usually they cover them up. In your case, yours was visible that the guy was able to see it. And you've had this on you for how long?
Since last year. It haven't even
Okay.
been a year yet. I got it on my birthday in October of last year.
So the person that told you that he or she has been harassed also, stopped and harassed also, what ethnicity is she?
They're females.
Okay. And so are you alike in any ways?
Am I liked?
Are you black? Are you white? Are you green? Are you gray?
I'm black.
Is she in your same category?
Yes.
So what is it that they're stopping her for? Just routine?
They just harassing people, just off the blue. It seemed like they just harassing Black people.
So it's being tied in some way to former President Trump's rally on the.
Anytime you tell me you're Christian, what that has to do with me? What my tattoo has to do with you being Christian?
And do you think that he is, do you think that he is aware, well, law enforcement, I'm kind of answering my own question, but I'll ask you, do you think that the people that are harassing you are aware of the policies with contractors? That they can get by with certain things?
I really don't know. I really don't know. What they should have done is just mind their business.
Would you think they would harass some of the senators or the congressmen?
I've heard that they harassed Senator Tim Scott. And I've cut Senator Tim Scott hair. He knows me. But I heard he's been harassed by Capitol Hill police.
Not for tattoos, though.
Not for no tattoo, no. I think I'm the only one up there been harassed with tattoo. It's something about this tattoo. I don't know what it is, but they was afraid of it. I don't know why.
You haven't seen it before, maybe. During the incident, would you describe your thoughts and feelings? You've talked about them.
Oh, wow. It was like my blood was boiling. I just got hot. I could feel the negativity from them. You know, I'm real good in that energy. You know, I just felt the energy that they was giving to me, and wasn't nothing good coming out of this, not at all. And I just felt the whole thing was just wrong. It was wrong what they was doing to me. And I just felt bad. I've never felt so bad in my life, as though it's like, why are y'all tripping off my tattoo? Why would y'all pull me in the loading dock to harass me about a tattoo? Now that thing could have went another way. I could have screamed. I could have went off. I could have did anything. I could have got shot, killed, anything. I don't know, but I was calm with it. I was very calm, but in the inside of me, I was afraid. I didn't know what they were going to do to me.
Because you're talking about armed security guards.
These armed police officers, yes.
And there was no one else.
And then
it was just you and them.
Just exactly. It was just us three. Now, what if that had been two Black officers with a white woman in the loading dock? it would have went another totally different way.
What do you mean by that? She's got a tattoo?
First of all, the officers would have been fired. Second of all, they would have gave her 6 months time off with paid leave. They'd have apologized. They'd have went and talked with her. Oh, it'd have been totally different. But me, they ignored me, have nobody come to see me. I only got one phone call, and that's the investigator who's investigating it. And after that, I haven't heard from anyone, not anyone.
And he's not doing much of anything.
And he's not doing much. I called him and asked him about the update on it. And he was like, I can't tell you anything. And he just like, if anything come up, I still might not be able to tell you anything. I'm like,
yeah, he was not helpful. For those, that picture that I showed, for those who don't know, that was the senator that she referenced, Tim Scott. So you said that you've heard that they pretty much don't respect him either.
No.
Okay. Wow. So here it is, someone with a prominent position. She's cutting senators, celebrities' hair, and she's treated like this in a back alley in a loading dock over a tattoo that seems to somehow be offensive. An Egyptian tattoo, some people might mistake that to be of a different religion. They speak Arabic in Egypt, and some uneducated people might just assume that maybe she's Muslim.
Right.
We don't know, but we would find out. Thank you so much, Ms. Baugh, for joining our show.
Thank you.
We're going to discuss now your case a little bit more in depth. And
I want to jump in a moment just to say,
Sure.
Mom is mom, and I hear I'm not telling you mom, and I just wanted to throw that in there, that even after all these years, you were a little reluctant to tell your mother about the tattoo. So I wanted to throw that in. And I used to actually spend at least a reasonable amount of time in the Rayburn building and stopping into Congressman's office. Now, I don't know, now that he's the House Majority Whip, I guess he may still have his, constituent office there in Rayburn. But I used to go and see him over there. And so I know that area you're talking about in the loading dock going into Longworth and then cut over to Rayburn from there and past the cleaners and the tunnels and all that stuff. So I really feel for you. That was quite
and they have video of this also.
Yeah, so we're going to hope to get that video. We're going to hope like one of our previous cases where they delete the video, but we'll see. So thank you again, Ms. Baugh, and we will continue to work with you and for you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you all.
Thank
Justice is coming.
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
I'm ready. Mr. Salati, what's the injustice?
Well, I mean, sort of the global kind of injustice. It's like she's describing, I don't know what you call it, living while black. I mean, here's this black woman minding her own business, doing her own thing, doing her job, and she gets pulled over, in that
False
sense.
arrests that we talked about.
Yeah, well, there's the false arrest. Both are happening in her case, I want to say. Certainly the first time you might call it a false arrest, but I think the second time you could easily say false imprisonment, that she's held in an area, they got the purse, blah, blah, blah. But those are the more the granular details. It's just, here's somebody going about her own business, doing nothing to nobody, no how, and she gets singled out. It is the sort of, the classic stereotype story that one hears and people experience all the time. You know, why did you pull me over? Well, I can, you know, well, that whole business. There's the basic injustice. Oh yeah, she's got an arm. The implication based on what the officer said to her somehow felt it was anti-Christian. You know, well, I'm Christian. Yeah, and well, I guess the yeah and is, well, that's anti-Christian. That's something bad, which he never extrapolates. But again, there's the implication. But it's certainly not the kind of thing where, oh yeah, we can just pull this woman aside just because. I mean, she could have had the devil and a pitchfork there, and you know, whatever your, you know, symbol of choice that would kind of make
Right.
you twitch.
Right.
Anything wrong?
People have the right to have whatever they want.
Well, it's that First Amendment moment. I mean, in a sense, she is expressing herself in a perfectly legitimate way under the First Amendment, whether you agree with it or you don't agree with it. She could have MAGA there. It doesn't matter, you know. She can do that.
Everyone has a right.
So,
Now, Dr. Cheney, you fall into the same category as Ms. Baugh. Hearing her story, how does that make you feel? You're muted. Unmute yourself.
Okay.
There you go.
I was thinking that we hear this kind of story or these kinds of stories in the media about general society in the various states, but we really don't hear about this kind of interaction on the Hill. So I think it's in the sense that you think that on the Hill would be different. You don't hear that people are being harassed or stopped or detained, but you hear that outside of Capitol Hill. So I thought that's scary, and I thought that is really interesting how this case is going to pan out.
If there's any safe place, you would think it would be the capital of the United States.
Yeah, but it seems as if no place is safe.
well, we learned that 6 months ago that not so much.
Yes. Now, John, going back to the legal aspect, the IIED, the intentional infliction of emotional distress, which requires extreme and outrageous conduct. Do you think this is extreme and outrageous?
The way I would look at it is, if it were one-off, I would say no. That is, it would not rise. Let's say what happened on day one would probably April 7th would not have risen to the level of what a court would likely say was severe and outrageous or extreme. But when that also sometimes the cases don't necessarily fall on, well, this particular behavior, but the number of times something happens. So even if what happened to her the first day was egregious or bad, however you want to frame it, but not legally outrageous, by the time you get through Friday, yeah, I want to say 3 days in a row, this kind of thing piles up, and that it now, not only are there 3 events, but they sort of become geometric in their intensity in terms of their impact on her. You know, what happened the first day? This sucks. Yeah, okay. It's just the kind of garbage people I have to deal with in life sometimes. I'm going to let it roll off my back. But by Friday, you know, yeah, you can see where she's going to be deeply affected. Now going to work is going to have this whole mental thing connected to it.
And when we talk about conduct, as you said, it's repetitive over time.
Yeah.
But then we have to look at the whole picture, everything that was done. She's being stopped. She's being questioned about a tattoo. then the phrase, "we've never seen your kind," you have to add all of this in
Oh,
to
yeah.
make it
The search of the purse.
extreme, right? You know, are all of these actions taken together extreme? Would this
Yeah.
is this behavior that one that ordinary person in these positions would do? Is this something that officers do? If this is something that all officers do, then it would never rise to the level of extreme. If it's something that all officers don't do, now we're talking about, why did you do this? And is it really outrageous for an officer to say, stop, come to us, 2, give me your purse, 3, why this tattoo, 4, I'm Christian, 5, I've never seen your kind. Now that I believe,
No probable cause.
right. And
At no
that way,
point-
that adds to the false arrest. And we could throw that in with the IIED because that makes it more extreme. Why are you doing this?
Oh, yeah.
Dr. Chen, you were saying something?
Yeah, the other thing that I am thinking is that there's a little form of stalking here too. That she initially said she was going to let it go. She said, "Oh well, I'm gonna let it go," and then all of a sudden, not all of a sudden, but she goes to work again at a different entrance, and the same security guard or Captain Police is at the entrance, and he's still kind of following her about. And that's scary because she could make the wrong move and he could harm her.
Which is
The
why
manner that, yeah,
we had a sense of urgency to file this, because we don't know who these people are. And
no,
they might be planning another incident with her.
yeah.
So
And I
now that
think,
this is filed,
Mhm.
they're going to say, oh, wait a minute. She has help now. Someone's looking over our shoulders. So
Yeah,
hopefully now they won't do anything more to her.
and I think it's good that she told people because a
Right.
lot of times we go through traumatic scenarios and we don't tell anybody. We keep it to ourselves. But apparently she's told people that could serve
The
as a
time.
witness.
Yeah,
Hmm?
right then and there, she told
Mhm.
people that. So contemporaneous sharing of the event, that should make a difference.
And
Yeah,
also what's important to
Later.
note is she did go to a therapist and she is being treated right now because of this incident. Some people might look at it and say, well, it doesn't seem that bad. The whole situation for her was so traumatic that she needs treatment to deal with this now.
Mhm.
So any of our listeners out there, if you're going through something, get help. Don't just, oh man, this is unfortunate. This is just the way the system is. No. If you're suffering at the hands of another person, another officer, because of conduct that could possibly be seen as extreme and outrageous, don't suffer in silence.
yeah, and I think it was good that she notified um, the chain of command, so to speak, the authorities for that organization, for the Capitol Hill Police, even though she's not getting the kind of feedback that is needed to help her out of the situation. But at least she went through the chain of command, so to speak.
Right. It shows that she's sincere. Well, we're going to follow back up with this as we are with all of our other cases. Every case that we've had on here, we're going to follow back up and have them back on the show.
Great.
Subscribe at the button. Email your questions and your concerns. We love what you all are saying. And that's it. Till next time, Mr. Salati,
Okay, we'll keep on fighting the injustices as we can.
we will definitely do that. All right. See you all.
Dr.
Okay.
Cheney, have a good one.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thanks for watching our video. For experienced legal services in Washington, D.C., Alabama, and Washington State, visit our website at remuslaw.com or call us at 1-833-329-1799.